What's going on, gang? Hello. Welcome. Good afternoon. My name's Alan Cox. Thanks for being here. Some people aren't. Some people can't be. We are. Say hi to Bill Squire, who's right over there.
Hey, creepy hugs, everyone. Thanks for listening to and watching this episode of the Alan Cox Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share a cold one with the boys, since it is a little sausage party today.
And that's it. Mary's out. Poundcake's out. It's just me and Billy today. It's unprecedented in the tenure of the Alan Cox Show in Cleveland. We've never done a show with just two of us. There have been times where you and Mary were out of town, and I said, well, I can't do a show with just Poundcake. Would drive everyone involved crazy. But you and I can do a show.
I think we have done most of a show before because of Erica's situations.
Right.
Put us into some situations where it was just the two of us. I know Poundcake was here for most of that, but then there was even, I think we've done a whole show at least once together. Just the two of us.
Well, there you go.
Just the two of us.
We can make it if we try.
But luckily, we don't have to do that today because Gab Cruz is coming by.
Ooh, Gab Cruz is going to come in later on. I haven't seen her in a minute. Now that the Guardians are in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. We'll see her a little bit later on. I will be picking up the phones today, however, so if you want to join us telephonically, don't let that stop you. It's 216-578-1007 or 800-348-1007. Send me a text if you like. It's 35192. AlanCoxShow.com. If you want to watch, simple as that. People listening on the iHeartRadio app can leave talkback messages there. I'll get to some of those throughout the course of the show. I got a lot of messages from people who wanted more of the caller. We have a girl who calls incessantly to the after hours line, and I don't know her name, so I just refer to her as the caller. And they were like, and I said, I can't, if I come in, for instance, on a Monday morning and there are 54 voicemails from her, and I played one randomly.
What's the
yesterday.
average length of one of her voicemails?
It's tough to say what the average length. I would say the average length is 30 seconds.
Okay.
Because some of them are 11 seconds, some of them are 2 minutes long. So 30 to 40 seconds, I guess, maybe is the average. But in deference to those people who were like, well, now you've got us curious, I'll play a little bit more for you later on in the show.
Someone did some detective work, and they sent me audio. They sent me a timestamp from an old episode. Let me see if I can find it.
I think they might have hit me up to it with her name.
With her name, yeah.
Yeah, but again, I don't know if that's her.
I don't either.
And she never says her name. All we've been able to glean is that she's... Of course, I thought she was blind because she's referred to going to a school for the blind, but then she talks about a bird outside her window and pictures of puppies in her purse or whatever. So
maybe she was...
maybe she's legally blind.
That's what
maybe
I was thinking. She can see some...
Not entirely without sight. I don't know what the criteria are
or maybe
for
it was
enrollment.
Stolen valor. Maybe she was just going to that school for the blind, and she wasn't really blind.
You think that's what it is?
I think
so.
It's
What
a
do you
possibility.
do you just show up in dark glasses, and if you have the money, they let you go there? And then you're doing like remember when C. Thomas Howell put on the shoe polish and he was the Soul Man? You want to talk about a movie that could never be made today? Soul Man.
Shoe polish.
What was it? Oh, you got a tan?
He took tanning pills and he took a whole bunch of them and they made him very dark.
Tanning pills?
Yes.
Remember, that was the plot of a movie. Tanning pills. And then he turns completely dark. He tries to win a scholarship. He's a rich white kid. See, they were trying to make it a treatise on race relations in the United States. And so he is...
it worked.
And it worked. I think it was a big hit.
I've never actually seen it.
He pretends to be black on his application form. And so he changes... I mean, every box ticked on making people mad in 2022 can be found in the 1986 film Soul Man. He changes his hair, his face, the way he talks. So it's a lot of like, hey, yo, man, that kind of thing, you know. Now, it wasn't without controversy at the time. It's not like nobody got upset. But the fact that it was written, produced, filmed, and released makes it a very, very different time in the mid-'80s. And it was a big hit. Cost them like $4 million to make, and it made like $50 million. So, yeah, Bill's right. He ate a huge dose of tanning pills.
That's one of those movies where people will be like, what? We made movies like that and nobody got offended. We weren't so sensitive back then. It's like, nah, there was plenty of people offended. You just didn't care that they were offended.
But it also doesn't make you... There's a difference between being sensitive and being overly sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And people are always thrown the overly sensitive tag. And that's unfair, too, because it's all subjective. There's nothing wrong with being sensitive to a topic like that.
Right.
Because the conceit of the movie was, he's a rich white kid, goes to Harvard, doesn't think that black people in America have any problems at all. And then when he looks like one to get into school and he's accepted as such, that's when he starts to figure out what's going on. Right?
So it actually has a good lesson
I
at the
think
heart of it. I don't know. I've never actually seen
Ray
it.
Don Chong was the female lead in the Tommy Chong's kid.
Wasn't there a book called Black Like Me?
Yes.
And it was about a guy, and that was required reading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had to read it.
Yeah, we had to
read
read
it in
too.
high school.
I don't
John
think
Howard
I actually
Griffin.
did read it, but I know I was supposed to.
Yeah. But C. Thomas Howell must have seen something he liked because he and Ray Don Chong ended up getting married after that movie.
Hey.
So she saw something in him, and he in her, where they were like, you know what, I think, would you still like me if I'm a regular white guy? If I'm just the dude from The Outsiders, will you still like me? And she goes, yeah, I would.
Was he...
My dad is Tommy Chong.
What else was he in out after that movie? Did he do much?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He was in, God, what did I just see him in? He was just in something. I forget what I just saw him in. But yeah, he still works.
Okay.
Right after that, you
Red
mean?
Dawn.
Yeah, he was
Red
in
Dawn
Red
was
Dawn.
before.
Yeah. He was in, I mean, the movie's got less fun, but he was in Gettysburg.
Okay.
He was in a lot of direct-to-video stuff.
But he kept working.
Yeah. He'll show up from time to time. You'll see him in saw him in The Walking Dead. He had a short thing there. It was a show I watched on Amazon called Bosch, a detective show. He was in that. He was in, Shudder rebooted the Creep Show series, and C. Thomas Howell was in that. He was in the MacGyver movie. So he does stuff, but, and this is important, without the assistance of tanning pills. And I think that's really the important part, is everybody goes, oh, I'm going to take tanning pills and have a great life. By the way, is that completely made up? Tanning pills are made up, right? There's such a thing as tanning pills. What an amazing, talk about your deus ex machina for a movie or a book or something. They go, what can we do that would make this whole thing make sense? Tanning pills. Because it doesn't make sense if he falls asleep, like Kramer fell asleep
Right.
in the tanning booth where he goes to meet his black girl's parents, and they flip out because they think that he's making fun of them. You couldn't do that.
There are no such pills approved for this purpose. So,
Approved
yes.
for this purpose, but they do exist. Tanning pills. I mean, I can't fathom a pill that just turns your skin dark.
Tanning accelerators such as lotions or pills that contain the amino acid tyrosine. Tyrosine?
Uh-huh.
Even kind of sounds racist.
Oh, no.
Or its derivatives do not work and may be dangerous. Marketers say these products stimulate the body's own tanning process, but most evidence suggests they don't work. So it sounds like snake oil.
Okay. Al, what's a standard deviation of the caller's calls so that we may be able to find the 95% normal distribution? That's where it gets weird, because the dispersion of the set there can really, really change. So deviation from the mean, I don't know. I just know that she leaves a lot of voicemails. So I can't tell you if her data is widely spread or if there's a lower standard deviation. I don't want to get in the weeds from that, of course. But, we'll find out. I got to break out my X and Y axes. And then I'll be able to give you some information there.
And people are they can't wait to get all that information.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got a long weekend. You're getting snipped on Friday. You got nothing but time to go through all this.
I know.
You're going to be sitting on a bag of peas,
Yeah.
frozen bag of peas or corn or whatever you want to use.
Well, it's going to be frozen mixed berries because then I can thaw them out and use them in my smoothie.
There you go.
Yeah.
And while you're doing all that, we want all this info. We want all this data.
Well, I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm getting snipped on Friday. We were laying in bed watching television last night, and I said to Gwen, I go, these are my last couple of nights with my nuts intact.
Do you want to do
It's the end of an era.
One for the road, just to see what happens?
One for the road?
Yeah, you put one in her. Just
no!
be like, yeah,
she'll get pregnant.
But what if she doesn't?
She will.
Why is that?
You know me.
Alan Cox. Super sperm.
I always forget about your super sperm.
Yes, that's why we're going through all this Michigas. Because if I leave it in, if I pull the goalie, 9 months later, you got a bundle of joy. So, listen, with great power comes great responsibility. You know who said that? Superman's dad.
Oh, Superman's dad. What was Superman's adopted dad?
Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
Jonathan and Martha Kent.
Who was your favorite Jonathan Kent?
My favorite Jonathan Kent was probably John Schneider.
That's my answer.
Formerly
From
of the
Smallville.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, did I like Glenn Ford in the movie? Sure. Did I like him more in The Grapes of Wrath? You bet your ass.
Kevin Costner was one of his dads, too.
Dynamite.
But I think John Schneider was great on Smallville.
Yeah. I met him at the Motor City Comic-Con a few years ago. He was at the bar. This was 5-6 years ago, and I took my older kids, and they were off doing something, and I was in the bar, wasn't having a drink, and there's John Schneider at the bar. And I was like, hey, man, big fan. He said, thank you. Raised his glass, and I went about my day. I got to take a break. I will have $1,000 for you coming up at 2:30. Listen for the next keyword to go fund yourself. 35192 if you want to text.
It's the Alan Cox Show. Everywhere on our free